is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing.
Three championship contenders, two races, one fantastic, fast-flowing Australian circuit tonight on the iRacing Esports Network. This is the Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia on SimSpeed TV. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box once again, Brock Cadeye and David Haynes. It's the penultimate round of the championship, Brock. We're going to get right into it here. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, well, during the week, we've actually gotten a bit of information from the admins of GT Leagues Australia, letting us know that the championship battle is actually extremely close at the moment. We have 3 points between Luis Paulo Gallon and John Peasnick, and about another 18 points back to Ross. It was Rizzo in second, then John Peasnick in third there. So there is nothing separating our top three contenders, considering you get 400 points for a round win here if you win, in this case, both races tonight. So I'm really excited. We've seen the likes of Gallon and Peasnick have their troubles in previous rounds, but they have got to be absolutely perfect. And speaking of them, they will be starting off the front row tonight. So this will be really interesting to see how they do, with Rizzo starting a bit further back in the field as well. I'm really excited, and of course we're ending this season with 2 Australian tracks as well, which makes me even more excited for the racing ahead.
Yes, indeed. Bathurst is going to be the final round, and Enduro. David, it is the double race format, 20-minute race 1, 25-minute race 2. That means that the racing is definitely going to be very frenetic here.
Yes, indeed. So obviously the starting order of the second race is the finishing order of the first race. So to take home maximum points, you've got to be clean in both races, and mistakes in race 1 can hurt you in race 2. And you know, as Brock said, what a fantastic track to bring these GT3 machines to. We've got a very fast front straight, and we've got a lot of sweeping, flowing corners up over some hills, some crests. It's a great track, and we're going to get some good racing, and it helps that the championship is so close.
Yes, indeed. As Brock touched on, there's only 3 points separating the top two. And John Peasnick, well, last round at Okayama, coming into it, we all thought he was out of the championship hunt after a horror round at Alton Park. But thanks to drama between Gallon, Rizzo, and some others in the field, he was able to claw some of that back and he is definitely in with a shot at this championship. I guess you could say Gallon and Rizzo both have one hand on the trophy, and Piesnik is just holding on to the rim of the cup by his fingernails, wouldn't you say, Grok?
I completely agree. Piesnik, he's gotten lucky. Like you said, at Alton Park, it looked like it was all over him. He was done. But he's managed to, like you said, just keep that one finger on the rim there, and he has every chance of winning this, just as all the others up in front of him do in Rizzo and Gallon as well. So Rizzo is someone who we haven't seen do extremely well. Like, we don't see him qualify right up in pole position or anything like that. He qualifies a bit back in the field, but he's just consistent. Works his way through the field and ends up getting podiums, and we don't see him all race. So that is his biggest strength, and that is what has gotten him to where he is at the moment. So I'm interested to see how he goes tonight. We do have a 20 and then a 25-minute sprint race, so a little bit shorter than what these guys are used to with their regular rounds, also meaning that it's just going to be all-out sprinting. So these guys are going to be trying to do hot lap after hot lap, which we have seen Luis Paulo Gallon do very, very well. He's a very quick guy in that Mercedes, and, well, with the championship fight as it is, he will be fighting hard to try and make sure he stays ahead of the guys, being Piesnik and Rizzo.
Yes, indeed. Well, as we run out the rest of this warm-up session before the first 20-minute race, we've got Anthony Winkelman topping the timesheets, followed by Rhys Gasol, Luis Paulo Gallon, and Brad Watson. It's a Mercedes 1-2-3, David. So it seems like this is a good track for these cars.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular car in this series, but obviously something about these corners doesn't quite suit the McLaren, the Ferrari, or the Audi, as well as the Mercedes seems to be able to get around this.
Yes, indeed. Well, the grid is now up on the screen, so you can see Luis Paulo Gallon on pole there, John Piesnik in second, Anthony Winkelman in third with Rhys Gasol and Phillip Worley completing the top five, Trent Thomas in sixth with Adam Briggs in seventh, Ross Rizzo starting in eighth, Brad Watson ninth, Gene Fiddies in the top 10.
Then 11th is Martin Silvassi, 12th James McKee, 13th is Jamie McKnight, 14th Ben Snell, 15th Ian Bevan, Maurizio Lastres in 16th, Benjamin Johnson 17th, Corey Ott in 18th, Daniel Misdale 19th, and Daniel Williams is rounding out our top 20 here tonight.
Yes, indeed. 21st, Daniel Cheney with 22nd, Steve Jansen, Alex John, Dan King, Reese Keane, Richard Hunter, John Schultz, Russell Clark, Cameron Stubber, and Wayne Hewitt rounding out the top 30. And the grid is almost away. We're getting ready, but Dylan Shepherd apparently is going to be the safety car here. We're not going to go on green. There has apparently been an error in setting up this race session. There is no automated safety car, so Series Admin Dylan Shepherd is going to be the one to lead the field away. Not quite sure what's going on here, guys.
This is interesting. This has the OEC vibe all about it again, where we had that LMP1 as our safety car then, run by the GT Leagues Australia admins. Admittedly, quick thinking on Dylan Shepherd's part there, just to try and get this race going. So he is now out on track at the moment, acting as our safety car. But this will be interesting in terms of staying side by side and getting this race running at the moment. Obviously, we are running down race time at the moment, so we've actually already used up a minute of the race at the moment, and it's only 20 minutes here. We've seen when we've had safety cars in the past at this in this series, that it eats up huge chunks of the race. So by the time we get going, you might only have about 15 minutes left going, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, the field is forming up now behind Dylan Shepherd, so this is definitely not good for that race elapsed time. As you said, Brock, there's probably only going to be like 15 minutes left in the race. But wow, I've never seen this happen before. But David, it definitely adds a bit more to the race, knowing that the drivers aren't going to have much time to deal with.
Yeah, it's new to me as well, but I think it looks like everyone in the field has a clean car, no issues. When we do get racing, I don't think this presents any problems to anyone, except that the shortened race time might cause problems for someone like Ross Rizzo, who won't have as much time to come up through the field if that's what he's going to do from 8th place.
Yeah, very good point that you raised there. Ross Rizzo, of course, only 3 points behind Gallon in the championship, so this is not going to help him with not being able to get as many points on offer. But John Peasnick and Gallon up the front of the field. I think Peasnick will definitely have to be on the attack. He wants to take as many points away from his rivals as he can.
Peasnick needs to jump Gallon on this start, or else he is going to find it hard, because that Mercedes of Gallon's is going to be made a track width wide. Peasnick needs to get past and make that McLaren work for him. It's a short sprint race here. We've got 17 minutes to go already, and like I said, it'll be about 15 when we come across the line. Doesn't have to last too long, so tyres or anything like that shouldn't be an issue, like we have touched on before with David, talking about them in previous rounds for John Peasnick there. So I'll be interested to see how we go here as we're coming up into Lukey Heights now, behind the Ferrari safety car with the flashing lights. So I don't know how this is going to go. I'm honestly feeling a little bit nervous, but a little bit excited.
Yes, indeed. Obviously, as Dylan Shepherd pulls away from the field here, Gallon will assume control of the start. Peasnick just hanging a little bit behind so he can catch when Gallon jumps. There is no iRacing controlled green flag in this session, so it'll be entirely up to Gallon as they come out of the last corner. He is away, and Peasnick has responded better than I would have expected, but he is immediately under attack from Anthony Winkleman as the field fans out behind them. So we are officially racing with 4 minutes elapsed in this session. It's going to be a 16-minute sprint here in race 1 as they come through turn 1 for the first
Trent
time.
Thomas off.
Trent Thomas and Brad Watson, both of them off at turn 1, and Trent Thomas, oh, that was close.
Brad Watson rejoins on the racing line in the middle of turn 2. Jamie McKnight's been made contact with as well.
Oh yeah, that's a big incident.
Oh, that was contact. Brad Watson whacked into Trent Thomas there through turn 1, absolutely punting him off the track there. And then I think a Geodesic racing car has collected Thomas as well on the way through into turn 1. So really unfortunate to see, but a bit typical of turn 1 at Phillip that tends to be a little bit crazy.
Yes, indeed. We are looking at Corey Ott at the moment in this replay. Goodness me, this incident was quite something. So Watson and Thomas come together, and then that re-entry into turn 2. Goodness me. Oh, that was a huge hit between Corey Ott and Jamie McKnight.
Yeah, unfortunate to see with those guys, because they did have quite a bit of pace and have shown that they can work their way through the pack. And Jamie McKnight's actually fighting for a top 5 in the championship at the moment, trying to keep his numbers up. So that's really not what he needed. Brad Watson has just been black flagged as well for that incident, which I think is quite fair considering where he hit Trent Thomas there in the back right-hand quarter panel. So that's all been sorted. Now back to this lead pack here. Gallon has skipped ahead like I thought he would do, and now Peasnick is actually under pressure. Big pressure from Winkleman here as they come down into turn 3, nearly making contact, side-by-side contact there. Peasnick giving no room at all to Winkleman there. Winkleman's going to try and go around the outside. Peasnick down the inside, keeping that line there. He's not looking strong at the moment. This Mercedes of Winkleman is all over the back of him, and in the meanwhile, Gallon's just skipping ahead in front. Kasul behind, still looking very strong there as well. And got to keep out for Phillip Wally as well. He's been doing quite well at the moment, as we commented on. We actually had a chat about that before the broadcast here. But watching up into Lukey Heights here for Winkleman, we'll see if he tries to make some move. That Mercedes looking a little more settled than the McLaren up ahead of him. Not going to be able to do it this time around, but he is so close to the back of Peasnick. A move has got to be on soon.
Definitely has to be. I mean, the McLaren does have good straight line speed when it comes to the balance of performance of these GT3 cars, but the Mercedes just loves the corners and the curbs a little bit more. You can see that Winkleman has a bit of a run on Peasnick coming onto the front straight. Don't know if he'll be able to get alongside before turn 1. It's not going to happen. But look at how close he gets through turn 1, almost riding Peacenik's bumper. That's amazing. Peacenik covering the inside into turn 2, and he'll be trying to keep as tight a line as he possibly can to get that lovely exit to come through Stoner and then Honda corner. But this right here, David, this is where Winkleman can pull a move.
Yep, could be. Again, Peacenik defends a little bit to the inside. They rub just a little bit. They get away with that. Now, I know that Anthony Winkleman drives for himself, but as part of his Trick Sim Sports team, maybe he's going to want to try to get ahead of Peacenik and do some favors to his teammate Ross.
Yeah, definitely. Once again, like with the way these guys are in the field at the moment, it is all about trying to take as many points away from your rivals as possible. If Rizzo and Winkleman can work together a bit and Winkleman can get past Peacenik, obviously cleanly would be the best way of doing so. It'd definitely help Rizzo's championship chances, but you just saw there, Peacenik got a much better exit out of the penultimate turn, so... Oh, he's actually lost out a little bit out of the last turn. Now the draft is back for Winkleman. They're going to do it all over again.
He tapped a little bit of curb in the final corner and really upset the rear of that McLaren, which isn't quite as stable as some of the other cars. So John Peacenik's really got to be careful with his steering wheel inputs, especially through some of the faster corners. That's where the Mercedes has a little bit of an advantage as well.
Oh no! There we go! Winkleman! Oh! Very good avoidance there by Reese Gasol. That shows great presence of mind. But Winkleman now losing a spot to John Peacenik. That is not going to help Ross Rizzo's chances.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So right now, Winkleman couldn't really afford to make that sort of mistake and let someone else through there. So now Gasol, I don't think he quite has the pace to match Peacenik. So he'll probably prove as a little bit of a cork in the bottle here. And we'll see if Winkleman can work his way back through in the end there. But now we're watching it, Briggs, who's right on the back here of Phillip Worley. They're having a nice little battle for 5th and 6th here behind this lead battle pack and behind Winkleman. So we'll keep an eye on this. Briggs is, again, looking racy. There are a lot of Mercedes in this field tonight. As you guys touched on earlier, the Mercedes seem to work very well around here. But we'll watch as they come through to the last corner now. Worley going just a little bit wider out of the second last corner there. Now, last corner, watch the run here from Briggs. See if he can get into the draft and try and make a move down the inside. Being equal cars, it'll all be depending on how Briggs managed to get that exit going. And he won't be able to throw it down the inside here, quite close to the rear bumper though. We'll see at turn 2. Again, the run out of turn 2 is vital for how you take turn 4 and how much speed you carry and whether you can throw it down the inside there. So it looks like Briggs takes a slightly tighter line, brings him in a little bit closer through Southern Loop there. Now we're going to go all the way down into turn 3 here. Winkleman isn't pulling away as much, but he looks like he's gotten a good run through Southern Loop. Briggs still not able to make that move work. Just not quite close enough to Worley there. Still has made up a position on where he started, but Rizzo in the background, one of our championship contenders, doesn't seem to have the speed to catch this top 6 lead pack at the moment.
Yeah, and we are now past half race time, so the clock definitely ticking. Rizzo, I don't know if he'll be able to make any headway in this one.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like you said, we're over halfway through this race. We've got about 7 laps left, and his pace just is not indicating it. And the shortness of this race basically means that there's not really a lot of time for the strategy of tyres coming up the temperature to really take effect and, you know, for a proper strategy to work out. So Rizzo is probably just going to have to deal with being in 7th place and try and work his way through the field in the 25-minute race that we have coming up next. We've had Briggs go out, Worley go out very wide there out of the last corner. That's given Briggs the opportunity to go around him, take 5th place, and now Worley has fallen behind Briggs. That was a big moment there for Worley.
Yeah, certainly was. Worley, unfortunately, losing a spot out of that. But I tell you what, this is likely to be a scintillating battle between himself and Adam Briggs. If their previous pace was anything to go by, he just needs to stay in touch with him. We're currently looking at Anthony Winkleman again. Oh, goodness me, really attacking Reese Gasol here. Tell you what.
Reese had to get really defensive into that hairpin, and now through Siberia, he slid it a little bit. This looks very good for Anthony Winkleman. He's right up.
Yeah, through Hayshed they go. Have a look at the run that Winkleman's got. Gasul going defensive into Lukey Heights. Of course, around this track, it is possible to pull some amazing moves around the outside. And Winkleman just having a look, brushing the rear bumper of Reese Gasul. But you can tell Winkleman is getting desperate here to try and make a move and get on the back of John Peasnick again. But I don't think he'll be able to get it done. Gasul is defending really well right now.
Gasul is actually playing a really, really good rear gunner to John Peasnick at the moment. I believe the two of them are teammates, if I'm not mistaken. So he's actually doing very well to hold off the Trick Sim Sports driver, who's probably looking to help his own teammate, Ross Rizzo. So this is going to help John Peasnick a lot in the scheme of things. And wow, Winkleman gets very close to the bumper there. That was so close to the back of Gasul, but this is a really great battle here. And like I said, Gasul is just defending so well. He's not doing anything bad. He's just putting that car in the right place to stop Winkleman getting by. Winkleman has the run now on the outside down into turn 4. Gasul has what you'd say is the proper line through there. Winkleman going to try and go under over, coming into Siberia here. Nearly side by side again, won't be able to make it work. Winkleman he's pointing his nose at all the places to overtake, but Gasul keeps shutting the door on him, making sure he can't get through. Coming up to the Hayshed part of the track here as we come into the second half of the lap. No places to overtake through here until you come up to Lukey Heights. Winkleman right on the back here, trying to take a similar line. Wow, he's going to try and go around the outside at Lukey Heights. Watch for a move down here. He's nearly off the track there. Side by side. Gasul tries to close the door. Not going to work when they're side by side. They've made contact there. Winkleman still around the outside. Contact, Winkleman's round.
Oh no, and I think that might have been more than a little bit of payback there from Reese Gasul. You could tell that he may not have been too happy with the little bit of contact that Winkleman had put on him. We go to a replay riding with Reese Gasul at the moment just to see what on earth happened between these two. So Rizzo, that's Winkleman going for the move, and wow.
That looks sinister. That doesn't look very good. It looks like Gasul has missed the apex, if you will, of that corner, and yeah, that has sent Winkleman right around. And what was turning out to be a great battle now has basically ruined the race for both of these blokes, unfortunately.
Yeah, certainly has. It's a real shame to see, but I guess it takes both teammates out of the loop. James McKee, we're going to a replay quickly to see what happened to him. Just coming into turn 1.
Contact with Mauricio Lastres.
Yeah. That's,
nearly.
He almost saved that too. That looked pretty epic.
Yeah, he did pretty well there, actually, to do a bit of a drift through turn 1 and not get that in the tyre wall out in the grass where you just seem to carry speed instead of stopping it. So, unfortunately, he's lost a few spots and actually was doing quite well last week at a couple of weeks ago, at Okayama. But second race coming up tonight, and speaking of, we've actually only got 4 minutes and 45 seconds left here now with about 4.5 laps left to go, 4 laps left to go. So this race has gone by crazy fast.
Yeah, definitely has. We're currently looking at Martin Silvassi, who is in hot pursuit of Phillip Worley here, who has managed to actually make his way back past Briggs in the last few laps. Unfortunately, I don't think we were able to get that. We were so distracted by the immense battle between Winkleman and Gasul, but this is a nice little 3-car fight going on right now.
Yeah, it's good to see. Phillip Worley's done well to make up a couple of positions, and Silvassi's up 7 at the moment as well, representing Trick Sim Sports really nicely up there, David.
Yeah, indeed. But what's happened with Reese Gasul and Winkleman, though, is that has elevated Ross Rizzo 2 spots. He's now not going to lose as many points to Gallen and Peasnick as he was until that contact between those two drivers.
Yeah, 100%. That's... if anything, unfortunately, Reese Gasul's contact with Winkleman has helped Rizzo even more than it would have if they'd both stayed clean. Of course, I think both drivers may have played a little bit of a part in bits of contact during that battle, but ultimately it was Gasul on Winkleman that decided the fate of that one. So Ross Rizzo will be relishing this. Just a few extra points is what he needs, but John Peasnick is going to be the one who gains the most out of Rizzo and himself. Gallon, meanwhile, 3.3 seconds in the lead. He's not stopping.
Yeah, that's Luis Paulo Gallon for you. He just, once he gets out into the lead, you don't see him again, basically. And that's why I said earlier, Peasnick needed to get that lead off him straight away. And I don't know what Peasnick was doing. I think he was trying to get a good run out of the last corner, but got caught off guard by when Gallon went, and he was gone. So Peasnick's pace just hasn't been good enough to match Gallon's. The only guy to match Peasnick was Winkleman, but obviously he's had his issues in this race, and we've covered that quite extensively. But now it looks like first and second are pretty well solidified at the moment, but the battle that we've got going on for third, fourth and fifth is still ongoing at the moment, with Worley out in front of that little battle pack here, but Silvassi has some massive pace at the moment, and he's hunting down that podium to get Trick Sim Sports back up there again. But don't count out Briggs. He has been a really consistent driver throughout the last couple of seasons of the Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia. And if one of these guys slips up, he'll be right there to take that position. So as these guys come across the line, we've actually only got a couple of laps left to go. So they're going to make some moves. They've got to make them now.
Yes, indeed. And it's going to be a post-race penalty for, I believe, Reese Gasol from race control for the incident with Anthony Winkleman. So that will require some more deliberation, evidently. But...
and Briggs is on the grass out there.
Oh, he is too.
Through turn 2,
goodness.
he's just somehow understeered massively, and that costs you a lot of time because it's such a long corner. It takes you forever to get back on the racing track. It looks like just a pretty slam dunk easy mistake, just carrying too much speed into turn 2.
Oh yeah, it looks like the front's just completely washed out there as we're on a replay at the moment. That's quite interesting. As we go back live, we're looking at Worley and Silvassi, who are currently embroiled in quite the fight. Oh, Steve Jansen apparently is around, and he was actually on an incredibly good run. He started 22nd, and he was up in 8th before that incident. So going to another replay, let's see what happened to him here.
So he's coming into Siberia here, and everything's all good and well, and it looks like he's just done that to himself, carried a little bit too much speed in there, and unlike the back of his car says, he lost all grip instead of having it all. So unfortunately, like you said, he was actually having quite the good run through the field, but now that's taken a bit of a hit there. Still +4 on where he started, but compared to where he was, obviously not where he would have liked to have been. And we're on the last lap now, so we're focusing on this battle pack between third, fourth and fifth at the moment. With Worley and Silvassi at the moment as they come through turn 1 and 2. Worley a little bit wide there, so Silvassi's going to be right on. Silvassi runs wide out of turn 2, out of Southern Loop, into turn 3 here. That has ruined the run of the potential go at a position here. So Worley may just have this locked down at the moment, and may be able to take third place after what has been a great run for him, and a real show of the improvements he's made across this season.
Yeah, certainly. Worley doing very well at the moment to hold off this hard-charging Martin Silvassi. But up the front, Luis Paulo Gallon has only got a few more turns to go to seal this race victory. And I tell you what, being in the lead of the championship and in the lead in this race, coming through these final 2 turns, he's going to be a real happy camper. Luis Paulo Gallon making his way through the final turn to take victory here in race 1 at Phillip Island in the Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia, celebrating. Fantastic for his championship. And John Peasnick, he will very much be happy with vaulting Ross Rizzo, or at least getting a good chance to.
Yeah, exactly. So Gallon is just, we got to remember the points are split sort of half and half because we have 2 races tonight, but that means that right now Peasnick's in a great position to vault Rizzo and hopefully have a good go at it in race 2 and try and claw back some points on Gallon as well. But right now it looks like this championship fight is going to go between Gallon and Peasnick.
Oh,
and sorry, we've had Steve Jansen flipping over the finish line. So we'll have a look at what's happened here, going to our CPR Karts Parts replays. He comes around the last corner here, all is good and well at the moment, and it looks like we've had, oh wow, one of the flat track cars there spears across the track, and Janssen gets collected by not one but two cars. I think that was Daniel Williams there that made a mistake and came spearing across the track, and we do have a replay of Daniel Williams on screen at the moment. He did go wide there, get into the stand. He tried to regain control, almost got it, then right into the path of Steve Janssen.
Wow.
Wow.
Nothing Janssen could have done there. I just hope he still scored about where he would have hoped to have been.
Yeah, certainly. Well, he still manages to improve on his starting position, but race results are as follows. Luis Paulo Gelon taking the win by 4.5 seconds from John Peasnick. Phillip Worley completing the podium. Martin Silvassi finishing in 4th. Ross Rizzo getting a top 5 for his troubles. Adam Briggs finishing in 6th place with Gene Fiddies in 7th. Reese Gasul finishing in 8th with Anthony Winkleman just behind in 9th. Those two will not be fans of each other after this one. Ben Snell completing the top 10.
And in 11th, we have Ben Johnson. 12th is Ian Bevan. 13th, Dan King. Reese Keane in 14th. Richard Hunter in 15th. Mauricio Lastres 16th. Daniel Cheney in 17th. Steve Janssen after that rather monster moment on the last lap there in 18th. John Schultz 19th. And Daniel Williams rounding out our top 20 here tonight.
In 21st, we got Wayne Hewitt, who's made it up there from 30th. Good one there. James McKee, unfortunately, dropping to 22nd. James Hanna coming home in 23rd with Gregory Olson in 24th. Jamie McKnight completing the top 25 after that lap 1 incident. Tim Awimer in 26th with Russell Clark. John Grant, Les Peck and Cameron Stubber rounding out the top 30, and your field is completed by Alex Court, Alex John, Phil Otto, Daniel Misdale a lap down, and our retirements, David Mulhall, Corey Ott, Brad Watson, and Trent Thomas. Well, guys, awesome race to start off with, but we've got a 25-minute race 2 to contend with now.
Yeah, that was a pretty exciting race. That kept us on our toes and on the edge of our seats, and I think that hopefully we see a bit more racing like that. Particularly if Gasul and Winkleman are out on track together by the end of the race, our next race here, it's going to be really interesting to see how those guys go about racing each other, because we saw that red mist descend, and I think that we could have some really good battles between quite a few others in the field here, because the pace seemed to be on par. You get groups of guys that had a similar pace and were having some good battles, so I'm pretty excited for the next race.
Yep, and we've seen once again Ross Rizzo'd his way up into 5th place. That is just capitalizing on the mistakes of others. So 5th is okay, that's some points for him, but it also helps him in race 2, where he's now going to start 5th on the grid and has an opportunity to maybe make up some more points. And then going into the final round of this championship, he'll still be in a good place to capitalize on any mistakes that Luis Paulo Gelon or John Peasnick could make.
Yes, indeed. We will have to wait to see how that one turns out. While the race 2 session goes up, we're going to go on a quick break, but don't go away. Race 2 coming up very, very soon. We are SimSpeed TV. This is the Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia from Phillip Island on the iRacing Esports Network.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
He's going to pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's going to get them all done with. What amazing.
Lee to the inside goes Logan Cloudman is going to touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save.
Looks to the outside, and Cronkite goes off. De Jong into second place.
I'm going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
He's trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the parabolica. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the parabolica. That's beautifully done there. Makashube, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
Welcome back. This is the iRacing Esports Network. We are SimSpeed TV. The Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia. Penultimate round of the championship at Phillip Island. And that first race was a bit explosive in more than one way. Once again, I'm Reese Gardner, Brock Caddy and David Haynes joining me in the commentary box. Brock, there are a few things to take away from that one and a few race control decisions.
Yeah, there's for such a short race, we ended up, I think, having 16 minutes of actual racing time after that safety car bungle at the beginning there, and, well, it was pretty exciting, and in the end, we had Brad Watson he received a penalty for his contact at the very start there that sent a few cars off, including Trent Thomas, and Reese Gasoul as well got a post-race pit lane penalty for that contact with Winkleman that ended up spinning them both around there, so... interesting to see, and there are right now the admins are talking about if there's any more action to be taken on Brad Watson for that contact, which obviously ruined a few people's races straight off the bat there.
Yes, indeed. Well, we'll have to wait and see what eventuates from that. But David, now we move into race 2, 25 minutes, and the day conditions have advanced a bit, so the track is warmer now.
Yep, these guys, and this is a slightly longer race as well, so tyres might start to become a thing depending on how these guys treat them, how the grip comes and goes away. You know, if we get the same amount of action we had in the first race spread out a little bit longer over this race, it'll still be a lot of action.
Oh yeah, for sure. Hopefully we don't see too many incidents between cars that requires intervention from race control. Certainly that would be optimal. But Luis Paulo Gallon starting on pole for this one on account of winning race 1. And I honestly, Brock, I'd be hard pressed to not talk him up, basically.
Yeah, Luis Paulo Gallon, excuse me. He's made some mistakes in the past and had some incidents and that sort of thing, but when he gets out front, no one can catch him. His pace in that Mercedes GT3, no matter what track we go to, he's pretty much been untouchable, and it is seriously impressive. So, same advice to John Peasnick, basically, is that he needs to get out in front of Luis Paulo Gallon from the get-go and manage the lead from there. Once Gallon is out in front, it's sayonara, see you later, I'll fit us in. You're not going to see him again the whole race. He won that last race by 4 or 5 seconds, and Peasnick was under threat from cars behind him for the first half. So it's really imperative how he starts this race, because that'll determine how the rest of the race goes for Gallon and Peasnick. And Peasnick's got to remember, he's got points on Rizzo, but he needs to get more on Gallon before we come into our last round at Mount Panorama.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of that last round at Mount Panorama, it is an endurance round compared to this one, which is a simple double sprint. So, David, we've noticed that Gallon really favors these sprint formats. He really enjoys them because I guess he's one of those drivers that burns hot and burns quick. Drivers like Ross Rizzo, though, not so.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen Luis Paulo Gallon is just really, really quick in this race. From pole position, then pulling out a gap, that's his kind of style of thing. But as we say, Ross Rizzo gains some positions off not making mistakes, off thinking about the long term, thinking about the strategy. And Mount Panorama, that's a very difficult circuit for 1 lap, let alone an hour. There's plenty of room for mistakes to be made, even when you're lapping by yourself. So when you add a little bit of a strategy element, all that kind of things, it's exactly what would favor Ross Rizzo compared to this round here at Phillip Island with the sprint races, maybe favoring Luis Paulo Gallon a little bit more.
Yeah, so if anything, I would expect Gallon to be the best out of our 3 championship contenders coming out of this one, but we still have 25 minutes of racing to go, and as this warm-up session enters its final 20 seconds, the drivers are out there making sure that everything in their cars is under control, making sure that they've got the conditions down pat, and they'll be ready to go racing just as hard as they always have in the Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia. Will Gallon be able to hold on for another win, or will Peasnick grab it from him? Will Ross Rizzo charge through the field? We find out as of right now. Session is over, and we are into the race session. 25 minutes, and it is going to be Luis Paulo Gallon on pole, John Peasnick in second, Phillip Worley third, Martin Silvassi in fourth, Ross Rizzo in fifth, Adam Briggs, Gene Fiddies, Reese Gasul, Anthony Winkelman, and Ben Snell are your top 10 for this one.
Then we've got Benjamin Johnson, Ian Bevan, Dan King, Reese Keane, and Richard Hunter up to 15th. Mauricio Lastres, Daniel Cheney, Steve Jansen, John Schultz, and Wayne G. Hewitt rounding out the top 20 here tonight.
In 21st, we got James McKee with James Hanna and Gregory Olson following him up. Jamie McKnight, Tim Owamer, Russell Clark, John Grant, Les Peck, Cameron Stubber, and Alex Court, your top 30.
And then rounding out our field here tonight, we've got Alex John, Phil Otto, Daniel Misdale, Corey Ott, Brad Watson, and Trent Thomas. It's obviously starting from last place after that first lap incident we had.
Yes, indeed. So the 1 minute grid period is almost over. And the safety car is about to pull away and lead this field around. Now, we haven't had much of a chance to talk about the features of this circuit in the racing tonight. It's been non-stop biff baff boom sort of action. But turn 1, Brock, is one of those turns that you really don't want to be on the wrong side of, especially on lap 1.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen it so many times in real life, and we saw turn 1 bite in the last race as well. You've really got to be careful, particularly if you're running on that outside line. There is not a lot of grip there, and for the person on the inside line, you've got to be careful not to hit the person on the outside. Like, there needs to be... You can get through there 2 by 2, but the respect and the racing room needs to be given through there, and that's what we didn't see lap 1, turn 1, with a few people threw it up the inside, probably a little bit opportunistically for a turn 1, lap 1 pass, and ended up spinning people around and causing a little bit of chaos. So it's Phillip Island is a rather unique circuit in Australia, considering we have quite a few circuits that are more, they're not quite as European in nature, as a lot of people describe this circuit as more like the flowing Formula 1 style of circuit, as opposed to some of the sharper corners that we see in our V8 supercars circuits we have around Australia.
Indeed. Luis Paulo Gallon now making his way through and out of Honda corner, the hairpin. And David, this is where you see the outbraking maneuvers being made, at that corner and here at Siberia.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, one of 2 really tight sort of second gear corners. So when you're coming in there in 6th gear, that is a big braking opportunity. And to get to the inside, you kind of need to take the outside of the corner before. And a lot of these corners, the following corner goes in the opposite direction. You can go too wide for quite a bit, like we saw Winkleman come around the outside of the hill corner, and it became the inside for MG. And the first and second corners is like that as well. A lot of places around this track, you can hang it around the outside.
Yeah, you certainly can. Of course, it's up to whether or not the driver next to you wants to give racing room. But the pace car now pulling ahead of the field, and Luis Paulo Gallon is going to lead the field away here. Let's see if he gets a jump on John Peasnick this time. Peasnick will be watching him like a hawk. He kind of missed it at the start of race 1. Will he get it at race 2? There we go. Luis Paulo Gallon is away. Peasnick once again not responding very quickly. So Gallon already pulling a couple of car lengths by the time the green flag flies. Now let's see how the start goes this time, because we did see already a car in the fence on pit straight. That's Cameron Stubber there, guys. That's oh, he's on his roof. My goodness. And that's the safety car. Yep. Already Cameron Stubber on his roof on pit straight. One of his rear wheels still spinning. That's certainly not optimal.
I've seen better looking Ferraris, so we're going to get a CPR Karts Parts replay here of that start from Cameron Stubber's perspective and try and find out what exactly went on. So it looks like the Mercedes in front of him has balked just a little bit there, and we'll watch as they come down. Oh, he's actually made contact there with one of the Mercedes next to him and has gone up and over and slid down the length of pit lane on his roof to the pit exit. That was massive there.
Yeah, it certainly was. That's something that is definitely not going to result in a good race result for you. Cameron Stubber, so unfortunate, and I guess that's the sort of stuff that really happens when you're down in the mid to low field. Stubber was starting in 29th position, remember?
Yeah, he just sort of tried to track across to take the outside into the first corner, but Russell Clark was on his inside there, not giving him a whole lot of room, but rightly holding his line. And Cameron Stubber has travelled further on his roof than some Ferraris travel on their wheel.
Yeah, most certainly.
Poor guy.
Well, yeah, poor guy indeed. This, however, does give John Peasnick a second chance. He'll be monitoring the back of Luis Paulo Gallon as the safety car comes around once more in this race.
And to
Coming
point
off
out
the start, yes,
in the very short amount of time between the race starting and the safety car being called, Ross Rizzo has jumped up a spot.
Oh, he has too. That is a very good spot. Ross Rizzo
At the expense of Martin Silvassi,
Yeah.
who maybe hasn't taken the start, because I don't remember seeing any trouble for him, and he is down 32 spots, effectively last.
Yeah. My goodness. That's very strange. So we'll have to... Wait, hold on a minute. Are we looking at the same thing? Because I'm seeing Martin Silvassi in third.
Sorry. Yeah, Silvassi is on track in third position at the moment, but just my timing is showing that he's not actually out on track. So, transponder issue in that car, if you will, but something funky is going on there.
My apologies then.
No, you're right. That's all right, David. It looks like the timing systems aren't liking Silvassi's car at the moment. Whether there's an issue, he's blinked as he's crossed the line or something, and hasn't actually registered that lap, and will just register both laps as he goes across next time round. Not really too sure, but that's a little bit odd there.
Yeah, got to trust the evidence of your eyes. I do see him out there in third place and Ross Rizzo in fifth. So the live timing obviously not reading quite correct.
Yes, indeed. Well, nonetheless, we do have the matter of the clock still ticking away as the safety car's out on track, and it is going to be out for one more lap after this. So it's going to turn into another manic sprint.
And we saw what happened in the last race when we did get into that manic sprint. And I don't know what Wally's doing there. He just tried to dive for the pit lane, maybe trying to fake someone out. It's all those mind games.
There's no point in doing that.
Yeah.
There's no pit stop in this race.
In a sprint
Everyone
race
knows
like that. Maybe he's just trying to scare some people behind him into thinking they've got too little fuel and have to do a splash and dash, if you will. But yeah, these guys, it'll be interesting to see how they manage this restart as well. Like, Peasnick needs to be on it. That restart, the start in this race really wasn't good enough from his point of view. He needed to be on the back of Gallon, and we saw in the last race, Gallon got out front, and he waved goodbye. We didn't see him again for the rest of the race unless we went, hang on, he's now 4 seconds ahead. So, Peasnick needs to do that, otherwise he'll be under threat from Silvassi behind, who definitely is still there in that pink, grey and black Trick Sim Sports Mercedes. And I think with the pace Silvassi showed in race 1, he'll be right on the back of Peasnick if he does not get that good start.
Yeah, he certainly will. I mean, that's the issue with these rolling starts. It basically gives the biggest possible advantage to the race leader as you could possibly get, because at the end of the day, it is the lead car, once the safety car pulls in, that controls when the field goes. And obviously, they're not going to tell anyone except maybe their teammates when they're going. So, standing start probably would have worked out better for Peasnick if race control had followed through with that. But we do have to stick to the way the series is and always has operated. So it's going to be advantage Gallon.
And we've got about 19 minutes left in this race, so I dare say by the time the safety car gets around, the second half of this circuit, probably only have about 18 minutes of racing left to go. So not long at all here. And like you said, I like the way you described it, a manic sprint to the finish, I think is a really good way to describe what this race will end up being. So I'll be interested to see. Wally had some good pace as well, and he's obviously there in 4th place. Rizzo in 5th, fighting for a championship with his 2 rivals in 1st and 2nd. So this will be interesting to see how he manages that, and good to see Silvassi has popped up on the timing sheets again, so us commentators up here in the box won't be too confused.
Yeah, certainly. Well, they're making their way through Lukey Heights and down to MG Corner. The safety car's lights are out, and they is already pulling ahead. It's going to be a single file restart here. So John Peasnick will be right behind Gallon as they come through the penultimate corner. Now, watch Gallon. Watch for when he goes. Watch for how Peasnick reacts, and Silvassi as well. Really backing them up here, almost down to 40 kilometers an hour, and there we go. Gallon away. He executed that about as perfectly as you possibly could. Peasnick caught unawares. Have a look at the gap that Gallon has already as the green flag flies again.
Yeah, so coming down into turn one, just saying he basically caused nose to tails behind him there, so not sure if that was a little bit too slow coming into the last corner there, because it's, well, it's really spread out the field here, and just looking back, he's got a massive gap now. He's already out to about 8/10 on John Peasnick, so a little bit cheeky of Luis Polo there, I reckon, to try and get that safety car restart perfect, but he's managed to get that gap.
Yeah, he certainly has. We've got a car around. That's Wayne Hewitt at turn one. That's obviously resulted from contact. We've just gone to a replay here. So we'll see what happens. Hewitt, it seems, got monstered by the cars behind him. Car number 29, that's John Schultz. Going side by side, and my goodness. Well, Hewitt turned in, but Schultz was there.
Yeah, so again, one of those unfortunate turn one incidents that we have seen before and will continue to see at Phillip Island, but in that RPR red pepper livery, we're going to flash to Rizzo now, who's having a nice little battle here with Wally in the background, and we see Briggs battling it out hard there too, so this will be interesting. Two Trick Sim Sports guys battling it out here within the background, Winkleman finding it out. Wally goes wide there,
Yeah,
Rizzo takes a nice wide line around him. But now Rizzo has got that run. Wally might try and get the wide line there and take this position back down the inside, down the main straight. They're going to be just about side by side. Rizzo has got the number on him there. Watch for Wally there. Watch for Briggs in the background as well. They're in a bit of a Trick Sim Sports sandwich here as they come down into turn one. But for now, Rizzo will hold that position and be up to 4th place.
Yes, indeed, and very well done there. Unfortunately, the nature of those last couple of turns at Phillip Island means if you drop one wheel into the grass on the outside, then you're as good as done around that final corner, especially now that iRacing does indeed simulate dirt pickup on the tyres. So Wally would have had absolutely no grip on the outside.
Big move from
there.
Winkleman.
And
Winkleman came
goodness,
from
yeah.
ages back on the brakes on Adam.
Wow. Very good stuff, and Briggs actually coming back on him at Siberia. Oh, goodness me. Was that contact? It was really close. They're going to go side by side through Hayshed as well. Love this part of the track, especially in these kinds of cars. You can see, oh, goodness me, Briggs. He's going to go up the inside at Lukey. Oh, but Anthony Winkleman, he's got the inside for MG, and he is likely going to be able to hold him off.
That's what I said about the corners alternating directions through that part of the track. You know, the outside becomes the inside, becomes the outside. And boy, oh boy, did Anthony Winkleman have to work for that to get past Adam.
Yeah, he certainly did. But have a look at Briggs. He's in the draft here behind Winkleman. And he's going to go possibly around the outside at turn one. It can be done, but you've got to be courageous and very trusting to do it. Winkleman staying ahead for now.
Yeah, for now he will keep that spot as they come through Southern Loop. Now Briggs looking fairly strong, trying to get past him through Southern Loop, but not going to happen. Just looking in the background here, we've actually got a nice little battle going on between Gene Fiddies and Reese Gasoul actually. As Gasoul's going to have a look, on Gene Fiddies down into turn 4 here. Gene has given him a lot of room, I think has just decided to concede that position. Gasoul, obviously, with that incident in race 1, has gone back quite a ways and will be making his way back through the field. But that will be all over Red Rover for that little battle pack, I imagine. So we'll focus on Briggs up ahead here, trying to take it to Winkleman. But it looks like that Trick Sim Sports mobile of Winkleman has cleared out and has got his sights set firmly on Phillip Wally up ahead.
Yes, indeed. And there's only a couple of cars then between him and John Peasnick. So Martin Silvassi already ahead of Ross Rizzo here. But if Winkleman can drive as hard as he can, get up behind his Trick Sim Sports compatriots, he might be able to help Rizzo take the fight to Peasnick and Gallon. But speaking of Gallon, look at the gap he's got. 2.2 seconds at the line.
That's a bit ridiculous. The pace that he has is immense on that one.
Yeah, just untouchable in these sprint race conditions. Peasnick still suffering a lot of pressure from Martin Silvassi. So there's very close fighting happening out on track right now as the race is about to elapse 15 minutes.
It's crazy how fast this has gone by at the moment. These leaders there, it's good to see some good battling going on. I will just point out right now, we've got a nice little battle going on between Ian Bevan, Mauricio Lastres and Richard Hunter right in the mid-pack here, 12th, 13th and 14th, with Reese Keane looming in the background here as well. Lastres is looking pretty strong and tried to have a little look down the inside at turn 4. Couldn't make it work, but it's good to see some great battling going on in the mid-pack here as the lead packs sort of drift out a little bit from each other.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Ian Bevan gapping Lastres a little bit through the midsection of the circuit, and Richard Hunter. Oh, here we go. Going for the move. Oh, dear.
Very ambitious, but I'm not sure he ever quite had the overlap. But yeah, interesting to try, and no harm done. Mauricio Lastres stays ahead. I saw him coming, but there wasn't quite the overlap.
Yeah, and it's easy to hold the outside around MG. But, of course, Richard Hunter in the draft. Down here into turn 1. Very close. Barely a car length between himself and Lastres. And the cars undergo such a high load through these opening turns.
Yeah, that's it. And just going to switch to Winkleman and Wally at the moment, because Winkleman is all over the back of him. I just had a quick look then, and coming into turn 4, it looked like he might try to make a move. So Winkleman is flying the Trick Sim Sports flag, trying to join his teammates up in 3rd and 4th at the moment, and really up on the back of Wally, having pulled away from Adam Briggs behind here. This is going to be an interesting battle with about 11 minutes left to go, 7-ish laps next time round. I'll be interested to see how these Mercedes go. Winkleman's dropped off just a little bit from behind here, but takes a nice line through Lukey Heights. Really, really tight there, right on the back. He's going to try to throw it down the inside here, and that was very close. Almost made it work there, but Wally did a great job of defending. Unfortunately, not with the best line coming through to the penultimate corner of the circuit here. We're going to come flying through to the last turn here very, very fast. Wally takes a slightly wider line, trying to straighten out that last corner. Winkleman's going to try get in the draft, try get it done at turn 1 so he can hunt down Rizzo. Not sure if the pass will be on for Rizzo, obviously trying to hunt down his 3rd championship in the category. Winkleman very, very close, not able to do much about it into turn 1 though. Like you said, you need to be brave to make a move, particularly around the outside here. Most of this first sector is about setting up for turn 4 and trying to get that move made. So you need to get a great run out of turn 2 here out of Southern Loop and really make that run work. Get in the draft and set yourself up out of turn 3 to pop out down the inside and try and make that move. Wally just about covers there, coming all across the track. Wally goes a little bit wide. Winkleman, he's trying to find any way around, but he just can't get by.
No, he absolutely cannot. Wally is placing his car in all the right positions here. But I still get the feeling it's only a matter of time, because you saw last lap how fast Winkleman was through Lukey. Might be able to do the same here. Wally actually running slightly wide on the entry. Winkleman just sticking the nose in. So Wally going a bit defensive coming into MG, but has he overshot? Can Winkleman get the over-under? No. Right on the bumper of Wally coming through the penultimate turn. Both of the drivers fighting their cars. Oh, this is a great battle. Meanwhile, Ian Bevan looks like is around, and that's Richard Hunter as well, who is recovering. So, once again, CPR kart parts replay. So let's have a look at what happened between these guys. It was coming up to Lukey. Now, Bevan, it seems... Oh, it looks like it may have been a botched move. Oh, goodness me. That...
Yeah, that hit from the CMR car of Janssen was really what did the damage there. He came through there not expecting there to be stop cars on the apex and nowhere to go, and he's smacked into Hunter, who's hit Bevan again, and that's where the real damage has been done.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, as we go back live, we're looking at Winkleman and Wally once again. Silvassi dropping back into the clutches of these two as they're battling. Of course, Ross Rizzo as well. I don't know what Trick are doing at the moment. Would Silvassi be staying in front of Rizzo, possibly with the I don't know, the possibility of trying to take points away from Piesnik, because surely it'd benefit Ross if Silvassi was behind him.
Yeah, it seems like something weird's going on here. It's like they're trying to use Silvassi to get past Piesnik and have Rizzo follow him through, but right now Silvassi just doesn't have the pace to get there. But and obviously Winkelmann's trying to catch up to them, but Worley is doing an excellent job to stay in front of him and not let him through, and he's defending beautifully at the moment to keep him behind.
Definitely is. Dust being kicked up on the exit of Southern Loop. Anthony Winkelmann will undoubtedly be getting very frustrated here behind Worley, who just moves out of line. Oh, here we go. Winkelmann almost up the inside through Honda. Once again, just unable to get that overlap that he needs. Oh, through Siberia. He may get a chance. No. Bit of a narrower exit. We've had some news from race control, meanwhile. John Schultz and James Hanna being given drive-throughs for contact. Schultz on lap 1, Hanna on lap 9. This battle continuing to go on, and I'll tell you what, this is a proper train now. And look who is coming up behind Anthony Winkelmann.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. If Reece Gasol can catch this, I think there's going to be a little bit of bad blood between these two from the last race, and as we know, racing car drivers have the best memory. Oh, Winkelmann's made a big mistake out of the last turn! Smacked into the tyre wall there, as he got a little bit of dirt there. Watch yourself, Winkelmann, and we've got a CPR kart replay here, kart part replay. Watching him come round the last corner here, this is going to be a mega moment. He's looking alright, he's hit a bump a bit awkwardly, gotten wide, had a moment, and then tried to catch the car, couldn't do it, and has hit the tyre wall there. The damage doesn't look too bad on the car, but whatever he had going for him, he's off the track at turn 1, 2 exit of turn 1 there. Wow, back down in 16th place now between Jamie McKnight and Trent Thomas.
Yes, indeed, and Thomas all over the back of him. But Rizzo and Worley are both now through on Martin Silvassi in that ensuing moment. So Rizzo right on the back of John Piesnik now. This is big.
This is going to be interesting. This is, as Mark Scape would say, championship implications are rife here. So he's going to have to push hard now. We've only got 4 laps this time round. Next time round, with 5 minutes left to go in this race. So Rizzo doesn't have a lot of time to make this work, but he's got to channel that inner champion within him from the last couple of seasons and really push this Mercedes for all it's worth and try and catch Piesnik to gain some valuable points back on him after that first race.
Yeah, 100%. But it looks to me like Piesnik does have the measure of him as the race enters its final couple of minutes. It looks like Misdale and Grant. Oh, goodness me, that's not good. Both of them around. Where is that? It looks like exit of Siberia. So we'll see what happened to those two. Got a replay on screen of what happened.
Oh, that just looked like, oh, nice synchronized spinning there. That was a nice little act they put on for us, but it looks like contact made from behind by the number 73 has pitched them both into a spin.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame.
We're back live now looking at Silvassi and Gasol at the moment with Worley in the foreground there. That was very, very close there from Gasol. He is on an absolute charge at the moment, trying to work his way through the field. They'll go side by side through Hayshed, making it nice and close through there. Oh, what's Briggs doing? He's going to try throw it up the inside of Silvassi through Lukey Heights, and he's done it! Wow, what a move there. He's taken advantage of Silvassi being slow. Silvassi trying to find a way through, cannot do it. Gasol now, sight set on Worley, trying to work his way through the field at the moment. But, yeah, wow, what a little battle pack going on there.
Yeah, and that was perfect opportunistic driving from Adam Briggs, taking advantage of the battle of 2 cars in front of him and slipping through one of them. So he's managed to make his way back up to 6th place, which is where he started this race.
Which is good to see. And we've got Rizzo on the back of Piesnik, so he's followed my advice and channeled that inner champion of his. So he is now trying to fly up to the back here of Piesnik and make this move work. We've only got 3 laps left here, not even 2.5 as we're coming down into turn 4 now. Rizzo has got to make this work now and try and get this move done. I cannot believe that Rizzo, from where he started in race 1, has managed to come up onto the back of Piesnik and is looking to make these moves. This is excellent.
Yeah, I've said it before, but I will say it again. These hotter track temperatures hurting that McLaren of John Piesnik. He looked really quick in the first race, but now in this second race, he's struggling, and Ross Rizzo is captain.
Yeah, and there's side-by-side action just out of Siberia. These drivers coming up into Lukey Heights, they're contending with a lap car here. Phillip Worley leading this pack. That's Reese Gasol, Adam Briggs, and Martin Silvassi behind him. Oh, have a look at this. Oh, take care, guys. This is getting awkward very quickly. Oh, there we go. Adam Briggs around as a result of that. That's a real shame for him.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate there. That was just wrong place, wrong time for Cameron Stubber in that lapped car, and there's not much he can do, really. That's a really skinny section of track, and he was trying to get his way around, but now we're going to flick back to Ross Rizzo now, right on the back of Piesnik. Piesnik going ultra defensive into Southern Loop. Rizzo looking for a way around, trying to get the run out of Southern Loop here so that he can make the run into turn 4 and try and get this move done. This is championship changing stuff. These two championship rivals, part of the top 3 of the championship, while Luis Paulo Gallen has sprinted ahead here. Watch for Rizzo, not going to make a move this time around, not close enough. That McLaren looking ultra twitchy in these hotter conditions, like David said earlier. The hot conditions do not treat the McLaren very nicely at all. Rizzo is all over his bumper, trying to make a move, but he's made a bit of a mistake there at Siberia. And had that late apex there in the end. A bit of a twitch as well coming into the corner, but we'll see what he can do as he comes into Lukey Heights. We'll see how he goes here through Hayshed. He's really got to range up on the back here, be nice and close to use the brakes to get this move done. Taking a nice line through there, really trying to maximise the throttle on exit. Piesnik going quite defensive. They're covering the middle of the track to try and stop Rizzo here. We've got 1 lap to go next time round. Can Rizzo make it through?
I don't know, man. It looks to me like Piesnik definitely has the measure of him in that faster, more flowing part of the circuit, but when it comes to that stop-start, those hairpins, that's a part of the track where the Mercedes really shines, and that's where Ross Rizzo has been able to catch up to the back of Piesnik. They're coming down into turn 1 for the 16th time. See Rizzo with just a slight bit of damage on the front of his Mercedes, really gaining on Piesnik coming into Southern Loop. That's an awesome view from the back of John's McLaren.
So much slip angle there from Piesnik on the exit of that corner, and Rizzo gets really close, but not quite close enough this time, as Piesnik will go defensive, but Rizzo is now starting to look aggressive under the brakes, guy.
Yeah, he's really trying to throw it down the inside now. He looked very much like he was just going to try to throw it down the inside of turn 4. This is racing we're not really accustomed to seeing from Rizzo, because he's usually just picks them off one by one. But this is full-on sprint racing. This is Rizzo trying to show that number 1 on his car, it is there for a reason. He's in 3rd place at the moment, but this guy ahead of him has the potential to take away a championship from him. He has got to fight for this in these last couple of corners. Not able to get it done there. Going to try and maximise the exit out of MG here. Luis Paulo Gallen, ladies and gentlemen, is our race winner here tonight, but we'll focus on Piesnik and Rizzo coming through the penultimate corner. Piesnik looks like he will have this, but watch through the last corner here to make sure neither of these guys makes a mistake. Piesnik, a great exit there, not taking too much curb. Rizzo taking all the curb, trying to get the run here, but he won't be able to do it. They come across the line 2nd and 3rd.
Wow, that was an awesome battle all the way to the end between those two championship contenders. And you know what? With Gallon taking the round win. Oh, hang on a minute. Trent Thomas and James McGee. Have a look at these guys coming out of the last turn, really going at it. Oh, Jamie McKnight in the middle of that as well with Winkleman. That was a close finish between those 4.
Yeah, wow, and keep in mind, Trent Thomas have worked his way up from the back of the field, and Jamie McKnight similar, so those guys have had a mega run through the field, with Trent Thomas up 21 positions and McKnight up 8. So, yeah, Trent Thomas has had an awesome run at the moment, trying to claw back some much-needed championship points after the last couple of rounds not really going his way, not through any fault of his own, though.
Yeah, certainly not. And you know what? At the end of it all, those top 3 are your top 3 in the championship as well. And with Piesnik finishing ahead of Rizzo in both races, that's really brought them together. How will the championship look for Luis Paulo Gallon, though?
And we've got the results up on screen now. So our race winner tonight and our round winner as well will be Luis Paulo Gallon in first place here, winning by a whopping 8.6 seconds. John Piesnik in second, Ross Rizzo in third, as you mentioned before, our top 3 in the championship, our top 3 in race 2. Phillip Worley is in fourth, Reese Gasol fifth, Martin Silvassi in sixth, Gene Fiddies seventh, Benjamin Johnson eighth, Adam Briggs ninth, and in 10th, Ben Snell.
Finishing in 11th place, we had Mauricio Lastres, Steve Jansen finishing in 12th, James McKee in 13th, with Reese Keane finishing where he started in 14th position. Trent Thomas making his way from the back of the field to finish in 15th, Jamie McKnight in 16th, Anthony Winkleman, a very poor race from him, unfortunately, finishes in 17th place, with Brad Watson making his way up to 18th position, Alex John in 19th, and the top 20 rounded out by Ian Bevan.
21st, Les Peck, then Wayne Hewitt, Tim Owema, Alex Court, John Schultz, Gregory Olson, Phil Otto, John Grant, 29th, Richard Hunter, and 30th, Russell Clark.
Yes, and indeed.
Sorry, Reese, you go.
That's all right. James Hanna in 31st place. 32nd, Daniel Misdale. Daniel Cheney, your last car to finish. But our retirements, guys, Dan King, Corey Ott, and Cameron Stubber. Very unfortunate for all of those guys.
Yeah, so a bit of an attrition rate here tonight, and in the first race as well, a few unfortunate incidents, which all started with Cameron Stubber sliding at 150 kilometres down pit straight on his roof. But some great battles we saw throughout the race there, particularly with Ross Rizzo ranging up on the back of John Piesnik at the very tail end of that race, nearly taking it probably another lap or two. We would have seen some great battle there and maybe even a position change. But great to see that pace between our championship contenders. But tonight, Luis Paulo Gallon was untouchable.
Yeah, he certainly was. And I tell you what, he will be absolutely wrapped with this as we bring him in for his interview. Luis Paulo Gallon, you are the round winner here at Phillip Island. You must be absolutely over the moon.
Yeah, nice victory, nice strong performance tonight. And yeah, man, that was a very, very, very good race all around. First race, yeah, my car felt really grippy, and I was just managing my lap times. And second race as well, the conditions was a little bit tricky, like a very slippery track, but yeah, my car was good.
Yeah, definitely seemed that way. And goodness me, the championship for you is looking better than ever coming into the final round at Bathurst.
Yeah, it's well, now it's just a matter of, keep the car on track as I have been doing for the last, couple races. Very disappointed last race, and I would like publicly to say sorry to Anthony with that crash. But yeah, that's racing, man. Yeah. Just want to say sorry.
Of course, obviously, you didn't get a chance to at the last round, so I'm sure he appreciates that public apology. But coming into Bathurst, a strong track for you?
Well, I haven't done much races at Bathurst with the GT3 cars. I've raced the GTE this year for the Bathurst 1000 race support, and I was really strong. I qualified on pole, but yeah, GT3 and the GT are two different beasts. I gotta put some practice in.
Indeed, and we will point out that it is an endurance race, and you seem to be at your strongest in these sprint style formats.
Oh yeah, I don't know if it's my driving style or my car setups, I sort of, I can adjust the car to wear less tire, but yeah, I gotta see what's coming up, the track temperatures and all that thing comes into play. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the last round. Yeah, actually, yeah.
As are we. Before we let you go, Louise, who would you like to thank?
Well, I would like to thank again Paul Mansell. He designed my helmet with the Ayrton Senna colors and put my name on that as well. I would like to say thank to the guys at Skull BMX to being there for many years and keeping my BMX dream alive. And yeah, say thank you to Brad Watson as well. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good race for him tonight, but I'm sure he'll be back strongly for the last round. Yeah, thanks to you guys as well. Thanks to the series admins to put us such a great season. We gotta appreciate what we have now. For many years, we didn't have any good series to race on, and now we've got you guys, so a lot of support. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. We'll catch you, hopefully, in the commentary box after Bathurst. Next up, we will bring in our second place finisher, John Peasnick. Now, John, it was second in both races for you, which I think, especially after Okayama and Alton, the amazing turnaround that we saw there, you're right back in the championship fight even more now.
Yeah, thanks, boys. Mate, to be honest, I am completely over the moon to be P2 in both races with the McLaren at Phillip Island, so I did not expect that. My goal was P6 or above, so very happy. And yeah, mate, championship's completely open still, with obviously Bathurst the last round, so no drop rounds, and one rub at the wall there can cause a world of hurt for someone. So nah, it's still on, so it's good. Will be good fun.
Definitely is. Bathurst a strong track for you?
Yeah, mate. It's back to a level playing field again. It's just Bathurst a normal circuit for the McLaren, so there's no real mad weakness of it. So it will be a good track, and should be a good fight with Louis to see how we go.
Indeed, it should. Well, before we let you go, John, is there anyone you'd like to give thanks to?
Just a thanks again to Element, the brand, for sponsoring us. And yeah, just the boys involved, much appreciated for keeping me going. Thank you.
John Peasnick there for Element Motorsports. And finally, we're going to bring in our third place finisher, Ross Rizzo, in race 2. Now, Ross, that was a constant climb for you all event tonight.
Yeah, the car wasn't particularly good in the first round for some reason, even though in testing it felt like a weapon. But then it really came on song in the hotter conditions in race 2. Felt a lot more comfortable.
What was actually happening in race 2? Because I did notice that Martin Silvassi was in front of you for quite some time, and we questioned whether you, I guess, belonged in front of him to help you championship points.
Absolutely not. Marty had genuine pace tonight. He came off the circuit on the exit of turn 2 halfway through that race and fell behind Phil as well. But I was hoping he'd stay in front to challenge John, because I felt he had a better chance of passing John than I did. He was a lot quicker than me.
Alrighty, well, fair enough indeed. I guess through that second race, it's all about who is in the best position to take points away from your championship rivals.
Yeah, well, yeah, we just want to get the points we can, do it fairly. I mean, there were discussions of potential swapping of positions, but I don't want that to happen at all. It's not worth it. It's not how I want to go. But yeah, if we can take points away from our rivals, then that's the way we're going to do it.
Well, the last round is at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time, and I suppose that is the big one that everyone is looking forward to. Luis Polo Gallon is optimistic. John Peasnick is feeling pretty confident. How about you?
I might break the trend on that. I'm just looking forward to see how this will all end. It's it's Bathurst. It's going to be a fantastic finale, being the track that it is, and of course the endurance format. So may the best win.
Indeed. Before we let you go, Ross, who would you like to give a shout out to?
Trick Sim Sports, Trick Custom Fabrications, and the boys at Trick, Marty, Anthony, and Forzan, and Knight Rider Designs, and to Sim Speed TV. Is it? Yes. Congratulations on the rebrand. It looks fantastic.
Thank you very much, Ross. Much appreciated. We hopefully will catch you after Bathurst. We'll see what the championship positions are at the end of that one. Well, that brings to a conclusion our proceedings for tonight, guys. My goodness, it's all to play for, Brock, at the final round.
Yeah, I don't think we can predict what's going to happen because, as David mentioned earlier, Bathurst is such a fickle track in that no matter what happens, it can bring down the best of drivers and bring up those that seem to have no chance. If we remember back to V8 Supercars in 2014, where Chaz Mostert won from last place, and that just shows you anything can happen at Bathurst. So I'm really interested for next round's race and our final round, as well as it being a 1 hour enduro, meaning 2 compulsory pit stops. So a lot of strategy to play out there, and we know that Trick Sim Sports have typically been the strategy maestros in the Geodesic Racing Sprint Series Australasia. So I'm very excited, and I think that we're going to be in for a seriously good battle for the end of the championship.
Yeah, certainly. David, your thoughts coming out of this round and into the last one?
Yeah, exactly. You've said it already, all to play for, because that was a solid round for all 3 of our championship contenders. All of them finished within the top 5, both races. You know, there can't be more than 100 points separating them now, with 400 points on the line for the final round. None of them can afford a mistake, not even close, at our final race. Any of them could take the win, could take the championship. We couldn't script it like this, and if we did, it'd seem fake.
Yeah, it certainly would. We got 3 diametrically opposed drivers. We've got Luis Paulo Gallon, the aggressive, fast-paced guy that burns hot and burns quick, and when he's on song in those sprint races, he is unbeatable. We got John Peasnick in the McLaren, the unpopular machine that is difficult to drive, but he goes for it anyway because he likes the challenge and he likes the car, and he's got the pace to boot. And then we got Ross Rizzo, the quiet achiever and 2-time champion of this series. What is going to happen at Bathurst? We honestly cannot tell you. Our best predictions may not come true. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for that. But in the meantime, we have got some awesome events coming up for you on the iRacing Esports Network and on our channel over at SimSpeed TV. Actually, all on the iRacing Esports Network over this next week. We got the Virtual Sim Racing Showdown on Saturday, live from PAX Australia in Melbourne. 18 of Australia's best sim racers competing for a drive in a Formula 4 car. Look out for that one. It's going to be on Saturday. We got the V8 Supercar Online Premier Series, the Montreal 600 from 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time on Sunday. And of course, 9:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight. We got the Monday iRacing official V8 Supercar Series and the V8 and the SimSpeed TV Porsche Super Cup on Wednesday at this same track. So we've got a chocker week ahead of us here at SimSpeed TV, and we hope you can join us for it. We'll see you next time.
The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.